Well, hello, everybody. This is John Browning on the Building Your Life podcast, and I have probably what I think might be one of the most unique individuals we have ever had on the podcast in almost 4 years of recording, and I'm extremely excited about this. I've just gotten to know James Corwin, and you're going to get to know him over the next several minutes. We're going to ask him some questions. He is an entrepreneur, he is an artist. I told him he's going to be the next Thomas Kincaid, I think, and how he has built his best life as he defines it. Not necessarily just using the tool we call money, but money is a big part of it because he's using it very much as a tool to build his business. We're going to talk about how he does that and about why this is his best life. But James, if you could just introduce us to you, tell us just sort of real quick what you do. You're up in Montana, right? So a little chillier up there than West Palm Beach where I am. But
Yeah,
introduce yourself real quick to us.
sure. Hi, I'm James Corwin, and I am a wildlife artist, primarily painting wildlife from around the world. Uh, Being here in Montana, of course, I'm inspired by big Western wildlife like bears and bison and moose, but I also paint egrets and some tropical fish from Florida too. I'm represented in galleries around the country and have been painting professionally for 11 years now, full time, and own a gallery as well here in Montana.
Very cool. And that right behind you there is one of your paintings, right?
Yes, yeah, this moose is a painting I just recently finished, and a lot of people ask how long it's taken me to finish a painting, and that one I've been working on since January, but it's the exception. Most of the time, I can do a painting in about a week or two, but that one is very complex. There's a lot of layers of branches to create this kind of ethereal, serene scene. It's
That's
up on
well, I mean,
my website too if you want to see it up close.
and what's your website? We got to know that.
Oh, sure. Jamescorwin.com. You
Jamie,
just
and
type
we're going to have that down in the show notes too.
great.
JamesCorwin.com. That's
Hmm.
easy. It's an easy one to remember. But
Yes.
I mean, it's beautiful. I'm just looking over your shoulder at it right now, and I can't imagine the level of detail if I was a little bit closer, but the depth in it. And I'm just thinking, because I'm a nerd this way, about all the different tools that you likely had to use, and you couldn't do it all at once, right? Because there are layers
Right.
and you can't
Yes.
paint over wet paint. And so you had to have
Exactly.
a sequence. I mean, the complexity that went into that painting is probably something that you can tell us about for the next like hour and a half.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a lot of tiny brushes because my details in my paintings are probably what make it most attractive, I suppose.
Yeah, well, that's what gives it the character that makes you what you are, as an artist. And I think
Absolutely.
about that when I'm speaking with different types of people who do different types of things, and we talk a lot here on the Building Your Life podcast about using the tool that we call money to build our best
Hmm.
lives, and how it's very complex if you do it the right way.
Hmm.
And when you talk to people who are master craftsmen,
Hmm.
and whether it's they're building a building or they're painting a painting, you'll almost always hear some really similar things about them. They use only the best tools, only the best materials.
Hmm.
They're not satisfied with good.
Hmm.
It's got to be great. And if it's not
Absolutely.
great, it's not okay, right?
Uh,
And
Absolutely.
everybody else only sees the end picture, and we tend to think it's easy. Like Michael Jordan, we just think, oh, must be easy. I go to the PGA Championship and watch these guys golf, and I was like, oh, that looks easy. until I go and try and
They
swing
do
the
make it
club and
look
try and get the
easy.
thing to go straight,
It's
right?
so true. Yep.
So, how did you get into painting? Tell us a little bit about the origin of this.
Sure. Well, I don't know if it's a chicken or the egg kind of thing when it comes to my two passions of business and finance and just growing and creating businesses, but then also the passion of art and being an artist, a creative person. Um, when I was very young, I knew I wanted to work for myself and have a business doing something that I loved. Both my parents owned their own business, so I grew up seeing the flexibility in their schedule. So that was attractive to me. And I certainly was always a creative child, but I didn't really know I could paint until I was a senior in high school. So before that, I was similar to you. I think I was explaining that I was very interested in stock trading and had thought that perhaps I'd be a financial advisor and was um, I think my friends probably thought I was weird when I was reading books on like candlestick patterns and stocks and stuff,
Yeah.
but I thought it was very riveting and interesting. um, so I certainly had that passion and interest in the business. And when I realized that I could paint and produce a product and something that I could sell, that really lit the fire of then bringing the two together. And while it certainly hasn't been easy, and I'm sure many people are familiar with the trope of a starving artist, um,
Yeah.
but it's just like any business with utilizing the right business knowledge and strategies of growing a business and approaching the art as a business. I do believe that anyone in a creative field could truly be successful. It just takes focus and really pulling the right levers, so to speak, and in making the business work.
So if you were, we talked a little bit before, so I have a little bit of inside knowledge here. But
Mm-hmm.
if you were to think about how you got to where you are today, what are some of the things that you would use to describe, how you got there?
Mm-hmm. Um, Gosh, there's so many things that come to mind. I I think it's really important to reinvest in yourself. If I'm looking at the numbers, which, as you know, I love getting into the deep into the numbers of the
Right.
business and the metrics and analytics, so I can try and plan for my growth. And so, where do I reinvest my profits into my business to help realize um, that growth is important. But also, uh, just I think there's the marketing is such an important aspect of the business, and not being afraid to um, utilize the different resources that are available to help get the art scene, because that's incredibly important. Um, so reinvesting my time into, you know, building the brand really, and through social media, it's such a lot of work, but
Yeah.
it's incredibly important because so much of this business is about the relationships. And because as an artist, I'm creating something that's emotional and an extension of myself. So if I can create something that moves people, I can really bring them into my world and hopefully create a relationship with them because um, that person's they're buying me, they're buying my personality and who I am as an artist, um, moreover than just the art itself. It does really help to have a pretty good painting though too.
Yeah, yes, you get there too, right? By
Yeah.
you get up every morning and
Yes. Yeah.
you 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 paint at some point during the day. You probably paint almost every, maybe not every day, but you consistently do it. You
Yes.
consistently get better at it. You consistently learn something. I imagine even having painted professionally for 11 years, you probably
Mhm.
learned something new.
Well, and that's the other thing too. Going back to your previous question is staying focused and not being distracted by these little opportunities that come up. And while they might seem like great opportunities, like business adjacent opportunities, such as doing like online art classes, which I've tried to tackle numerous times, and what I ultimately find is they always take me away from the easel, and that's where my time is most valuable. So when I, realize the numbers through these other opportunities and think, oh gosh, like I only made $10,000, trying to launch this course over months of work, and I could have painted a $10,000 painting in 2 days. It's like, oh,
Yes,
maybe I need to focus more and stop trying to, you know, do all these other things that I think could really help the business. But in reality, sometimes the best thing is staying simple and creating truly, the best product.
sticking to what you're truly good at, what you do
Yeah,
best. And
yeah.
I think there's a lesson there, and we talk about it on the Building Your
Hmm.
Life podcast. I speak about it when I go out and speak at events. It's
Hmm.
about being the best, whatever it is that you are. Be the best pilot
Hmm.
that you can be, the best dentist you can be, the best plumber,
Hmm.
whatever it is that you do that the best of your ability, get better at it. Maybe you can charge more at it, but you're probably going to enjoy it more.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, yep.
And you're gonna make more of this tool that we call money.
Hmm.
And you're gonna be happier overall.
Yeah, yeah. And when I think of building your life, that's something that I've been so consciously aware of over the last decade, being an artist. And what I've really discovered over the last couple of years is I had been so focused on achieving these certain goals and benchmarks of where I wanted to be with the business and how well known my art was. And sure, those are great, but I feel like I I've been missing a lot of the journey in between. And over the last couple of years, I've just been enjoying the the life, the building of the business and the everyday routine and excitement of it, and not being so focused on whether I or not I reach these benchmarks. Because like early on, I was pretty diligent about, you know, saving and keeping the profits so that I could invest them into passive income investments that would pay for my lifestyle. And so I did that, and I didn't change my lifestyle. So my expenses are very low. Um, and with that being taken care of, I can just really enjoy the ebbs and flows that my business creates and know that I'm personally taken care of. And when I think of, you know, building that ideal life, um, it's I'm so focused on finding the happiness in like doing something that I love that's not, what am I trying to say? That's not, I'm not growing for the sake of growing. I'm growing because I'm allowing it to grow, and really putting my heart and love into that. Because I've been like I had mentioned, like opening the gallery in Aspen, and I've had more employees and stuff. And sure, it was exciting, but actually, it just made me more stressed, and it wasn't that fun. And like I'm doing these things because I think, oh, this is how I grow the business. This is how I become more, recognized in my field by doing these great big things. But in reality, it's like, wait, why? But that just makes me not sleep at night. And makes me really frustrated and upset. And wait, how do I bring this to a point where I can have that life that I love? And
Yeah.
because I think in a way, I don't know if everyone's like this. Of course, we're all unique individuals, but it seems like we build, and put all this time and energy, and maybe miss so much of our life to reach this certain point in our business, only to sell it, and then oh, I made all this money, now
Now
I can
what?
enjoy my life. Or yeah, now what? But I'm like, well, I imagine I'll probably be painting for the next 50 or 60 years. So I'm going to love and be happy in the moment.
I hear that exact story on a regular basis, and I'm going to say a lot of people don't recognize it or realize it
Mhm.
until they're much older than where you are.
Right,
and
right.
and so I'm glad to hear you say that. I'm glad you've recognized that, and I'm glad you've taken some steps early on
Hmm.
to invest and get some passive investing so that your money has a job. I give every dollar a job is one of those one
Hmm.
liners. My kids laugh at me
Yes.
because I have a lot of one liners, and that's one of them. Give every
That's
dollar
a
a job.
great one. Yeah, yeah.
Because if your dollar's just sitting there in the checking account earning like 1%, then
Oh,
that's
yeah.
losing you money to inflation. It's not
Yes,
serving you. It's not, you're
exactly.
not using your,
Hmm.
and the idea that you did that early on so that, and you didn't adjust your lifestyle up, which I have to
Yeah.
admit, I mean, well, I had six children too, so that's
Yes.
not cheap. Just
That's
for the record,
dangerous.
in case you were wondering, I know you're getting ready to get married. Six children, not cheap. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. I know.
And we spend a
I
lot
can
of money
imagine.
as a bottom line, but we
Yeah,
adjusted.
yeah,
You want to get the things, you want to send your kids to college, everything else,
yeah.
and suddenly that the lifestyle creeps up with your income,
Hmm.
but then you don't sleep at night, or you feel like you need that Ferrari or Corvette or whatever it is that you love to do, or you need this, that, and the other thing to be happy, quote unquote.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the reality of it is, if you set yourself up right and you set up your money early on so that it serves you rather than you serving it in the lifestyle, you
Hmm.
can live your best life and sleep well at night and then
Oh,
enjoy
yeah.
the chase if that's what you enjoy. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you not only enjoy painting, which is
Hmm.
why I told you you are very unique in that you enjoy the painting, you enjoy the art, but you also enjoy the numbers,
Hmm.
which is
Oh, yeah.
fascinating to me. I don't think I've ever met an artist that enjoys the numbers like you're saying you do. And I can tell you do because during our earlier conversation, you were giving me metrics on your business, which is just, I was blown away because it's like no artist talks like this. But I love it because I
Right.
speak with business owners all the time and try and help them, get their businesses ready to sell, make sure that they don't have
Hmm.
a big tax liability at the end when they're trying to sell it. All of
Hmm.
those things, we do here at Guardian Rock Wealth. And a lot of what you were talking about, you've already been thinking about that. Although you were telling me too, you're not sure you're what are we doing about taxes here? So, and we're going to talk
Yes.
about that later on. Um, but all that is exactly why I wrote the book.
Hmm.
Build your life,
Hmm.
not a
Yeah.
portfolio, which is a very odd thing for a wealth manager to write about because we should be asking you for more money because that's how we
Hmm.
make our money. But I would much
Sure.
rather have happy, rich clients than I would have miserable, rich clients. And I've run into a lot during my career. I
Hmm.
can't tell you the number of people that were just chasing the portfolio. They were just
Yeah.
miserable. And they had all this money. They had the best Rolex, the best cars,
Yeah.
all of these things. They went on these big fancy trips and they were fun while they were on the trip. And then they got back and as they got back to the grind, and they're
Exactly.
miserable rich people. And my
Yeah.
mission at Guardian Rock Wealth is to use what I learned on Wall Street to
Hmm.
help people actually enjoy their lives right now and
Hmm.
also into the future. And I absolutely think that that is possible. I've seen it happen, and you're living proof that that can happen as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel, very fortunate, but I think so much of that knowledge too has been from not only doing, I'm much more of a doer than to ponder and wonder what it'd be like. So I do take risks and try new things with the business and learn from them, and certainly had many, well, I don't, they're failures, but they're just expensive learning opportunities. And then also learning from podcasts such as yours, and being able to kind of hear from other people and their stories, and just begin to understand that and incorporate it into my life. And like, if a lot of people are saying this, in their 50s, that they wish they had done in their 30s, maybe I should tune into that, and maybe implement a few of those things. Um, so yeah, so I do feel, fortunate, and um, I feel fortunate too to have gone through already some tough times, because when I hit those again, the level of stress is not up here. It's a bit down because I've been there before and I know how to get through it. And that isn't to say that there's probably many more to come and in many different situations, but it's just, that's, I guess, the name of the game of being in business, right?
That's true. Like, not like you started where you are, but
Right.
discipline, focus, investing into yourself and into your craft
Hmm.
and all of that you eventually get from good to great, so to speak.
Hmm.
And then you can sell expensive paintings and you get collectors that are collecting your paintings and things like that,
Hmm.
right? And you get to meet, I'm sure, amazing,
Oh, yes,
super cool people that,
absolutely.
yeah, that share your
Yeah.
value set. And yeah,
For sure. Yeah,
but it doesn't
that is,
happen overnight. Doesn't happen overnight.
no, no. And I think too many people, they either um, give up when it's challenging, or they, I think more often it's, at least for artists, what I see is, uh, it's hard for me to say, but it's like they don't have the motivation to put in what needs to be done to be successful. They kind of ride on the coattails of life, hoping that the buyers will come to them by chance, but um, it doesn't necessarily happen that way. You have to go out there and find them, and through, you know, marketing and building a brand business.
You have to
Yeah.
show that art to more people in order for them to even know that they want it. They don't know it, it's out there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you build it, they don't come.
Right, right.
Unfortunately. You
Yeah,
have to build it and
that's
then
exactly right.
convince
Yeah,
them
the
that
field
they're
of dreams, right? It's like
yeah.
I could build Guardian Rock Wealth, but I don't tell anybody it's out there, and if I don't show them why we're different,
Right.
we're just
Exactly.
another financial services firm if people don't
Yeah.
understand the difference between what we do here at Guardian Rock Wealth and what they do in other places. So,
Yeah.
and the
Yeah.
same thing with your art,
Mhm.
and like you could just keep it in one little gallery, but you tried to open one in Aspen, and that did okay, but it turned out that it was more than it was worth having, so you shut that down, right? I'm sure
Yeah. Yeah.
that's always painful when you start something. You're like, I wanted to keep it going, right? So,
It
what made you
is.
decide to
Yeah.
shut that one down? I mean, it sounds like it was just too far away and hard to manage.
Yeah, yeah. I always wanted to try running a gallery in another state, which I intend to do again at some point. But like as we had discussed, finding the right employees was challenging. But there's just, it's a different sales cycle in Aspen, which I didn't fully understand until I was there. And it'd be like you would, talk to somebody who would be really interested in the artwork, and then you'd try and follow up with them, and you just wouldn't hear from them again. It just like ghost you, for lack of a better word.
Hey,
And
we've all had the ghosting. Yeah, that's
yeah,
just
but
being
like
in business.
so much ghosting, and then, but then it would be like 8 months to a year later, they'd be like, "Hey, do you still have that painting?"
It's
And
like,
like, and I'm still selling art that from people to people in Aspen who saw it over a year ago. And I'm like, it's weird because here in Montana, they walk in and they see the piece, they either like it or they don't, and they'll buy it, or they'll come in a couple days later and get it. So it was hard because the sales cycle is so different and very long. Also, just just traveling there a lot was challenging because I would route through Denver and then up to Aspen. Well, while it would only take me a couple hours to get there from Montana, it was always delayed because of the private
so,
jets getting backed up.
oh,
So either I'd have to spend a night in Aspen or spend a night in Denver because I would miss a connection. And after so many of those, I was like, oh, this is annoying. um,
I need to get back in front of the easel. Yeah.
yes, yeah, exactly. And so yeah, I did it and I learned so much, and I'm so grateful that I did do it because of the knowledge it gave me, and moreover the strength it gave me, and building my personality, my character a bit more, kind of gave me more of a backbone, I suppose. And that's really helped in a lot of areas of my life already. So yeah, I'm really grateful for it and glad I did it, but I'm also glad I don't have it now too.
Yeah. Sometimes we get these things that we think we want. Another great example,
Yeah.
right? We get these things
Yep.
that we think we want. They may not even be like quote unquote failures. It may even be like,
Exactly.
great, I have this thing, but it's
Yeah.
causing me more stress and it's not building my best life. It's causing me to lose
Right.
sleep.
Yep.
It's causing me to be more busy than I wanted to be. And
Hmm.
that might not be the right answer for you. Somebody else might
Yeah.
think you're crazy because, hey, this was successful. Keep going. But
Hmm. Exactly.
not if it's making your life miserable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
know. I think isn't the money in a way, I don't know. I want to be able to buy back more of my time, and in that instance, it was not.
I like the way you put that. And I've used that before. How do you buy back your time? Because
Hmm.
people say they're not making more real estate, they're not making more time. And here's the crazy
Yes.
thing about
Exactly.
time. I often use the illustration like when I'm up talking in front of a group,
Mhm.
I'll have an hourglass
Mhm.
and I'll hold that hourglass up in front of me and I'll cover up the top part.
Yeah,
Here's the deal with our lives. We don't know what's in the top part of this hourglass. All we can see is
right.
what's past and maybe a little bit of what's going on right now. We have no idea what's in the top of that hourglass. So we don't know how much time we
That's
have. So we
scary.
better use it. We better use
Yeah,
it. We better enjoy it and
exactly.
make it the best that it can be. And part of that is deciding, right? What is your best life? And
Yeah.
it's surprisingly common that people don't know what that answer is for them, or they've let
Hmm.
somebody else, like their mother or their brother or sister or whoever,
Yeah.
decide what their best life should be, when really
Hmm.
it's not what they want it to be. I run
Oh
into
yeah.
that all the time as well.
Yeah,
And
it's amazing when I did this years ago, and I think that's why I haven't really raised my level of living is I figured out, what would I need every single month to live my best life, and figured out what that number is, and it's like, oh, okay, that's not nearly as high as I thought it would be. And if I can just, earn that through passive income and or some of the business income, and just aim for that, like then, you know, I essentially would be set because um, this is what I desire, in my life. And I suppose I've never been quite that personality that's been attracted to things and buying a lot of things. I'm very happy with the vehicle that I have or the place that I live. I did live in, I didn't own it. I was um, renting a part of it, but it was a huge mansion. So I had the entire house. And I just saw what it was like to live in a 8,500 square foot house and the upkeep. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't wouldn't want that. That's so
yeah,
like and then people they even live there and they still have to pay for like the 100 grand roof repair and stuff like that and things and all the maintenance and it's a lot. So I'm like, well, I know that I won't be any happier if I live in a massive home. So I'm quite content with the space I have now. And besides, I find I'm mostly in the kitchen anyway, so I don't need much space.
there we go. And now, just so you're aware, I feel like I should tell you this.
Mhm.
You are planning to get married
Yes,
in
yes,
just a couple months. So
yeah, I
this
know.
guy,
And then
folks, you're
kids and
you're you're engaged now. There's another person coming
I
into this.
know. That I must say there has been an element of like motivation to try to up my level of earning so that we can maybe get like the bigger house and so if there's kids in the future that can be accommodating and so yeah there's definitely a little bit of pressure.
Well, I got to tell people too, because a lot of people listen to this on Apple Podcast or Spotify or
Mhm.
whatever. If you are listening to this podcast right now and you have never been to my YouTube page, you need to go to the YouTube page and watch the video because this one is worth it just to look over James's shoulder and see that picture because I just keep staring at it. And
Yeah,
I can't wait to see more of his stuff because I'm going to go out to his website and all that. But this, and
thank
also
you.
just so you know too, this is not the kind of painting that you go to Target and pick up on the shelf. I'm
Yeah.
just I'm just warning you. If you think you can get that kind of quality at Target, probably not going to happen.
Right.
So it's cost a little bit more than that to get that kind of quality, but you got to go out to the
Absolutely.
YouTube page and watch this on video and meet James in person, so to speak.
Yes, please
But
do.
but yeah, because he is getting married, and he's going to need some more cash, so he needs to sell some more
That's
paintings
right.
here.
I
So
know. Pay for the wedding too. Yeah. That was a shocker. All those expenses.
But the other thing too that I wanted to point out, because this is from all my
Yeah.
small business owners and that are, and not that you're that small anymore. I mean,
Hmm.
you've got some employees, you've got a
Hmm.
gallery, you've got some part timers, some full timers, and running the business part of that and being in front of the easel like you should be, right? For the business,
Yeah,
that's where you should be.
exactly.
But all that is a struggle that you deal with every day. And
Yeah.
so if you're in a small business and you're thinking, well, this guy's really successful, you just remember he has his struggles as well.
Oh,
And he's
yeah.
got to sort of pull himself back,
Hmm.
get in front of where he makes his time make them the most money and outsource the rest, what
Hmm.
he might even be just as good at. That's another problem, right? When you're very, very good at something, it's hard to outsource that. But if it's not what you might be good at it, but it's not what you're best at,
Hmm. Hmm.
hand that off to somebody else. Let somebody
Exactly.
else be their best at that. And that's
Yep.
how your business grows over time.
Hmm.
And then we start making that money and we use that tool called money to either buy back more of your time or
Hmm.
whatever it is that is most important to you.
Exactly.
Maybe it is buying a new and better tool or a piece of equipment or whatever, if it's going to enhance your life in some way, your business in some way, but
Hmm.
not just to go purchase it and have it sit there, right?
Right.
And not
Yes.
enjoy
Yeah.
it, not
Right.
use it, and all that. And that's what I
I
say
do
about
buy a
money
lot
too.
of art, other
You
people's
buy a
art.
lot of art. You buy a lot of
Yeah.
other artists' art.
Yeah, yeah, because
Yeah,
I, I truly believe in the value of investing in art and see it as investment too. So I'll see other young, very talented artists, and I'll, you know, buy their art because I think, it could go up in value hopefully over time,
it's
and
a real thing.
it
It
is,
absolutely,
yeah,
the folks over at Masterworks have now got it so that you can buy a portion of
that's
very,
right.
very expensive
Yep.
artwork, and they've done quite well. Their performance
Hmm.
on what they've bought, and people have bought shares and have done very, very well. So
Yeah.
I talk to people all the time about portion control, which I probably need to
Hmm.
speak with you a little bit about. Portion
Yes.
control in all things, just like when you're at the Thanksgiving table, maybe not a good idea to load up quite that much, but
I
maybe,
love the stuffing.
yeah, the stuffing, maybe a little too many carbs, at least when you get to be my age. See, you're still young
Yeah,
enough that your metabolism is just racing. That stopped somewhere around 40 for me.
oh
And this
no.
is, yeah, so that's another thing you have to look forward to. But the portion control of, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. People ask me all the time and say, well, should I have cryptocurrency? You probably don't like that because you're concerned. No, I think actually many, if not most, portfolios should have I'm going to emphasize this again, a portion of their portfolio in that, a portion
Yeah.
of their portfolio in art, if you understand it, or you have
Hmm.
somebody else who understands it, because I'm sure, like anything else, like I would not try and go out and try and advise someone on what art to buy.
Right, right.
That would
Yeah,
not be a good idea for me to do because I have no idea. I know what I like.
sure. Yeah,
I know what I'd
yeah,
like to
totally.
look at, but it might
Hmm.
not be a good investment.
Sure.
And but having that as a portion, having all things in proper proportion make for a great portfolio. The one thing about art is you can't generally take it down to the grocery store and buy a loaf of bread with it.
Right. Yes.
Generally,
Yeah.
very
And it
difficult.
doesn't pay dividends,
And there's
unfortunately.
no dividend payments on that thing either. So that whole idea of cash flow, which we talk about a lot, and using that cash flow as a part of the tool to build the
Hmm.
canvas of your life, your financial life, and all that is super important as well.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
I'm telling you, I am extremely impressed. I didn't
Thank
really
you.
know who this guy was. He introduced himself and I said, well, let's just schedule some time on my calendar. And I was like, well, this sounds like a great idea. I didn't know, but I knew that I recognized the name. And I still haven't figured out from where, but I'm pretty sure I've seen your work somewhere, and it wasn't in Montana. It
Well,
was
that's
it was
good.
somewhere
My
else.
marketing's working.
The marketing is working. So yeah. And like I said, if you're not watching on YouTube, you got to come out here and take a look at this, or go to the website,
Mhm.
James Corbin or Jim Corbin.
Corwin, yeah,
Corwin.
Corwin. You just punch that into Google, and all sorts of art and web pages will come up.
Yeah. Good stuff. And you know what?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you being on the podcast today because
Oh
I
no,
like to
thank
show
you.
people, I like to show small business owners that it is possible to build
Hmm.
over time. It doesn't happen overnight. There are
Right.
mistakes that are made and you just deal with them.
Oh yeah.
It's grit to get through those. But the idea that you have not only been successful in business, but you've also built for yourself using the tool we call money, some peace
Hmm. Hmm.
about
Hmm.
moving forward so that you can enjoy what you do that much more.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
something that we run into all the time is the business owner who just keeps expanding, and they are constantly
Yeah.
in this state of stress
Oh,
because they haven't put
exactly.
some of this tool, this money aside, and they
Yeah.
don't have it working for them.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
they're
I
constantly
just,
worried, I got to get to the next painting, I got to get to the next sale. But you
oh,
can
for
enjoy
sure.
yourself.
Well, and that's the nature of the business that I'm in. Is I'm in a very uh, I'm in the luxury market of selling artwork, and so you can just use your common sense on how that runs in economic cycles. So
Right,
I've always known I need a little bit of backup just in case.
right,
You know.
right. And the sales cycle is slow, right? I mean, like I said, it's not
Yeah.
like walking into Target and picking up a painting. This is quality stuff, so people
Hmm.
tend to think about that a little bit longer.
Oh yeah. I mean, this piece is 19,000 behind me, so
Yeah,
there's that limits the buyer pool too. As my prices have gone up over the years, but as they go up, it also squeezes the number of people, obviously, who can collect my work.
right,
And so it's
right. What is the
always going
price
out and
range, just
finding
so
them.
people kind of get an idea, like if there was like a little bit smaller, a little less detail, or something like that? What's like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
low end piece for you now?
So I'll just even an 8 by 10 inch piece, that would be like $1,000. So I still do small work that's 1,000 to 3,000 for small, and then mid-range stuff from 5 to 8,000, and then do a lot of larger pieces that are 15, 20, up to 30,000 a piece.
Hmm.
And But then I do limited edition prints as well, which is a huge pillar of my business. So like a piece like this, I'll do a signed run of like 250 prints, different sizes, and they'll be anywhere from just a couple $100 up to a couple $1,000, depending on your size that you choose. But that allows people, to get into the artwork, and hang it on their walls for a fraction of the price of the original, and
Right.
that's been great. Like, I'm sending out hundreds of those a month.
Yeah. But see, I
Yeah,
kind of want an original James Corwin,
I know. Nothing
but it's,
beats the original.
yeah, nothing beats the original. This is a piece of art that you don't buy unless you're gonna like also install the proper lighting and everything else. You
Hmm.
gotta have the right wall for it, the right spot for it, and everything
Oh
else.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's
yeah,
it's That's why I love buying original art, because it's special, and I don't know, it's different than hanging just a picture. It continues to reinvent itself, and it's always interesting. And I'll have a painting that's been hanging in the same spot for years, but I'll still stop and stare at it and just marvel.
hmm. Well, I can't paint, I can't draw, I like all that. I am so bad Like I've actually spent some time just trying to get better because I've always been, that'd be so cool to be able to do that. It's just
Sure,
not
yeah.
in my brain, I don't think.
Yeah.
But so I'm always fascinated. And this is why I like talking with more than just financial people on the Building Your Life podcast, to show people not, you don't have to be a financial expert to be successful. You
Right.
just have to you just have to be smart about it. You have to
Hmm.
learn, like you
Oh yeah.
said, listen to the podcast, listen, learn, read, and get
Hmm.
better, and maybe
Hmm.
outsource. And if you need somebody to outsource to, you guys know where to find me,
Hmm.
guardianrockwealth.com. And we are the reason I like to talk with master craftsmen, no matter what it is that they do. And I've had blue collar workers on here, craftsmen, and now I've had a world class artist on with me,
Thank you.
James. Thank you. I can now say
Thank
that.
you.
Um, and
Appreciate that.
I'd love to have master craftsmen on with me because I'm so fascinated with anybody who's like exceptional at what they do. And hopefully, what people see is that it's possible. And it's
Hmm.
not just possible, but it's possible to be happy
Yeah.
and know that you're in your best life and
Hmm.
being the best at what you do. And you can find that. And so reach
Absolutely.
out to guardianrockwealth.com, John Browning, any of my LinkedIn, social media networks, jamescorwin.com. Reach out to him. Reach out to, I'm sure you have the social media links as well. Do the
Hmm.
search on that and reach out to us. And James said on right here, he wants to not just do the painting, he wants to have the relationship. So
Yes. Oh yeah.
uh, my
Come
guess is he
join the
can't take a
family.
lot of, probably can't take a lot of phone calls, but I'm sure every once in a while it's absolutely fine. Probably enjoy that, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I call all my collectors
Okay.
periodically. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
important, and their family.
Very cool. I love that. Well, we're gonna wrap this up and thank you all for listening in to the Building Your Life podcast. And we're gonna have all the links to where to go find James's art and how to get in contact with James down in the show notes. And you guys all that are regular listeners know how to contact me, but we'll have all of that information down below as well. All right, we're gonna let you go. James, thanks so much.